In 2022, I made a video on how speedrunners beat Hitman 3, finishing every level on the hardest difficulty in just 28 minutes. I never could have anticipated the number of people that would see that video, or how my life would change in the next 4 years as a result. But what amazes me just as much is how players would continue to push the limits of the game during that time. And just a few short months ago, one of them completed a run so innovative and perfectly executed that it absolutely needs to be shown off. So now it's time to sit back, relax, and hear all about how speedrunners broke Hitman's hardest difficulty again. To put it simply, the Silent Assassin Master Trilogy speedrun is all about going fast and not getting caught. No bodies found, no witnesses, and nobody compromising your identity as the world's greatest killer. Pull this off and you achieve the Silent Assassin rating, something that runners have to get on every level of the run. Since it's in the Master category, you also play the game on its hardest difficulty, adding a bunch of guards, cameras, and giving NPCs more awareness in general. Finally, you have to do it all in your suit. No disguises for easily getting around trespassing areas. The important parts of the in-game HUD are the mission timer at the top, the objectives listed in the top left, and the green gun icon in the bottom left that signifies the status of your Silent Assassin rating. I'll be explaining a single segment run, meaning recorded all in one go, by the Michael Jordan of Hitman speedrunning. Gen P has conquered just about every major category in Hitman 3 at some point, and is constantly setting new records, so make sure to check out his YouTube I linked down in the description. The run I'm showing today is also the current world record at the time of recording, and with 21 levels to cover, let's get straight into the first mission. Welcome back to Paris. In the showstopper, Agent 47 has been sent to dispatch Dahlia and Victor, the fashionable figureheads of a criminal organization called Iago. Frustratingly for speedrunners, they start the mission on opposite sides of the map, with Victor waiting to make his grand entrance at the top of these stairs, and Dahlia giving a speech at a private auction all the way over here. Regardless, Gen P has a strategy to kill them both without ever needing to enter the building. This is the superior bomb launch. When you detonate this near-silent explosive called a breaching charge, it can send nearby objects flying with astounding force. So of course, speedrunners started using it to launch items like bombs and tasers halfway across the map. In this case, they use it to fire a block of C4 hundreds of feet into the air, landing precisely on the roof just above Dahlia. When the C4 explodes, it breaks the chain of the chandelier underneath, crushing Dahlia in a totally believable and not at all suspicious accident. Speedrunners don't have time to stop and place each bomb on the ground, but they need to be positioned precisely to ensure that the bomb lands close enough to the chandelier below. To do this, they time dropping the explosives with 47's walking cycle, releasing them when his hands are closest to the ground and thus minimizing any bouncing that would throw off the launch. Now the reason I call this the superior bomb launch is because of what Gen P does to kill Victor. Instead of going inside to activate the proximity trigger that will make Victor start walking down the stairs, Gen P simply shoots the wall beside his bodyguard. Then, Victor will tell him to investigate the noise and start his movement cycle just as if you had walked into the room. Gen P then sets up the angle for the bomb launch, lining up 47's silhouette against a feature of the building to make sure he's lined up correctly. He runs back over here so he can tuck into this corner and shoot one of these guards in the leg. This is called a panic shot, a common Hitman speedrunning trick I'll explain more thoroughly later. But for now, just know that these guards are effectively blind with hysteria, letting Gen P perform the rest of the level without getting caught. After sailing through the Parisian skies for over 10 seconds, the C4 lands on the roof and is detonated right away by Gen P, dooming Dahlia with a deadly drop of the chandelier. Hitting the spacebar to go into cover beside this tree and then hitting it again to pop back out, Gen P puts Agent 47 in the same position every time, giving him a repeatable setup on this ridiculous trajectory through the windows of the building. Using his pistol to sever the chain of the chandelier, he squishes Victor right in the middle of his big moment, escaping through the front gates in a stylish 29 seconds. The second mission, World of Tomorrow, takes us to the coastal town of Sapienza. This Italian job has 3 objectives: terminate scientists Francesca DeSantis and Silvio Caruso, while also destroying this vial of a deadly virus prototype. He'll begin the mission in the ICA Safehouse apartment. After skipping the cutscene immediately, Gen P turns around, unpacks his tranquilizer, and picks up his stashed sniper. He'll be carrying the briefcase for all of 4 seconds before he uses something called a fast unpack, dropping his briefcase, hitting the unpack key, and crouching all in rapid succession. Doing this allows you to pull out stashed items much more quickly than if you simply hit the unpack key. And here it helps Gen P to immediately fire 2 shots with his sniper into this wall near Francesca. This will cause one of her guards to notice the bullet impact and draw her to a favorable position in a few seconds. In the meantime, Gen P scoops up a brick and drops down this ledge, shooting this camera and pathing precisely across the front of the estate to avoid being compromised by one of these guards. With a quick distraction shot into this tree, Gen P flicks his aim up to the balcony to find Francesca in his sights. By sticking her with a ketamine dart before swapping over to his sniper to blast her in the midsection, Gen P makes use of the Trank glitch, a fairly recent addition to Master Trilogy speedrunning. Normally, by just wasting your target in front of other NPCs, you'll incur a penalty for the body being found and lose the Silent Assassin rating required on each level of the run. However, by tranking the target and killing them while they're in the passing out animation, their body is considered to have been deadified by accidental causes. So similar to the chandelier kills you saw earlier, you won't lose your Silent Assassin rating when their body is found. This has been a known glitch for years now, but was only recently allowed into speedruns after some community polling. With the fratricide finished, he'll disable this camera and saunter on over to this shed, scooping up a tank of propane and using his second tranquilizer dart to KO this guard before dealing with yet another camera. Taking a wonderful pitching wedge approach shot, he lands the propane right at Silvio's feet, blowing it up with a well-placed shot from his sniper. Somehow, a propane explosion is also considered accidental, so speedrunners love them for quick and easy kills on Silent Assassin runs of all types. With at least his human targets out of the way, Gen P pulls out that brick he picked up earlier and tosses it onto the stairs, running atop the broken particles that remain so he can clear the railing and make it over to the other side. Congratulations, you've just borne witness to the particle boost. It's a thing of beauty that opens up the game in so many ways, given Agent 47's otherwise limited movement. To go even faster, Gen P also no-scopes his sniper into the cliff, spinning 47's lower body around to face the shot and causing him to slide the rest of the way almost instantly. He lands on this invisible surface, negotiating a ridiculously tight passage that requires you to run in at the perfect nutty-putty angle between these stalactites. Speaking of angles, he's just found a great one to destroy the virus from, using his sniper to complete the last objective before walking off the invisible platform and escaping in the seaplane below, soaring out of Sapienza in a saucy 62 seconds. The next mission takes us to the coastal African nation of Morocco. You know the one, right? I already told you it was coastal. That narrows down like half the country. Nope, that's India. Okay, listen, I'm gonna give you one more try to... Nope, that's an island. That's Madagascar. Okay, it's here. It's over here. Marrakesh features a bustling market, an elegant Swedish consulate, and a tightly monitored military base fashioned from a commandeered school building. Standing on the roof overlooking this market square with 2 perfect levels under my belt, I would probably use the relatively safe method of getting down from here, running over to this table, breaking a violin, and dashing up the pieces in an easy particle boost to make your way to the ground floor. But this run isn't anything close to the norm, so instead of taking 38 whole seconds to clear this level like I showed you in 2022, Gen P just does this.
Hey. Help! I can't deal with this! What the hell?
Target down. Next up, raise this A down. Both targets down.
So, like a big sniper in your briefcase, there's a lot to unpack here. Let's start with these panic shots down into the market. When you non-lethally shoot a regular NPC, they freak out so hard that they briefly lose the ability to compromise you for almost anything. With guard level NPCs, you do have to clear the area from where the shots were taken from almost immediately, but once you do, they'll not only be too panicked to see you, but will eventually run to the origin location, making this an excellent method for manipulating their position, as you'll see later. Here, these shots will move any guard NPCs out of this area of the market, while also panicking any nearby civilians who could catch him. The violin boost that he does right after wasn't unknown to runners when I made my last video on this speedrun, but it was considered too inconsistent, too risky, and too difficult to be attempted during the full game category. It's hard to communicate how big of a flex this boost is, but the fact that Gen P is one of the only runners I've ever seen using it in Trilogy runs should definitely give you an idea. You may wonder why he isn't snapping his legs at the knees despite falling 3 stories and hitting the ground at what seems like 100 miles an hour. That's because the game normally doesn't allow you to get onto ledges like this in the first place, so the developers didn't really need to program in a way to account for fall damage. Gen P fires a shot through the window of the schoolhouse, getting Ray's attention and compelling him to investigate this corner of the room. He then shoots through this ridiculous angle to turn this guard's view away from Klaus, fixing his crosshairs on the scheming Swede and taking him out with a headshot. It's important to note that Gen P brought a Viper instead of a Ghost. While they have the same time to unpack and function as very similar weapons, the Ghost will kill from almost any distance on any body part but the hands. The Viper, on the other hand, can dish out a few non-lethal hits on everything but the head, as long as you're far enough away. Gen P uses his Viper to catch this guard in the thigh, panicking the guard next to him so he doesn't enter the room and come across Klaus's dead body. With Klaus hopefully all hidden away, he runs into this market stall, aiming with his sniper to take out Reza with a headshot while the general stands alone in this room. Dropping his sniper and sprinting as fast as 47 can, Gen P makes a clean getaway in just 24 seconds, an incredible time that probably would have stood as a single level record when I last covered this run. If you're enjoying the video, please make sure to like it and subscribe if you haven't already. I'll be streaming and posting more long-form content like this for both Hitman and 007 First Light, so I hope to see you in those places in the future. The next mission takes us to the city of Bangkok, the capital of Thailand and a place some of you only know about through Hitman and the second Hangover movie. Apparently it's known as the city that never sleeps. I wonder how many cities say that about themselves. Los Angeles, California? Tokyo, Japan? Calgary, Alberta? Agent 47 has been sent to the luxurious Himapan Hotel to take out 2 targets, Leto-esque pop star Jordan Cross and the surreptitious solicitor Ken the Brick Morgan. For this mission, Gen P starts this level at the default entrance on the dock, waiting out the lengthy intro cutscene that actually gives us some intel on target positions. Normally, the non-player characters and targets begin moving through their routine from the same position every time. In Bangkok, however, Jordan Cross and Ken Morgan will sometimes be visibly earlier or later in their movement cycle, letting speedrunners anticipate if they need to rush or hold back on the first couple steps of this level's route. Gen P waits for the cutscene to end naturally and jogs to the corner of this dock, shooting the wall with this pistol so the bellhop turns around and won't notice any of the shenanigans that are about to go down, such as this sniper shot through the window that impacts right above this NPC. This type of distraction, known as a ceiling shot, will cause the NPC who hears it to perceive and investigate the noise as if it came from the floor of the level above, not the ceiling of the level that they're currently on. He then turns his attention back to Jordan, creeping forward on the dock and firing a shot through this window to panic these 2 guards and keep them distracted. Gen P then puts Jordan into a lockdown by waiting for him to turn around inside his recording booth and instantly firing 2 shots into this wall where he can hear them. Once again, he snaps his reticle back to the windows of the restaurant, firing a shot to break the chain of the chandelier and prove that the food Ken Morgan wanted to sample was literally to die for. Hiding behind these boxes, Gen P waits for Jordan to enter his safe room, firing before Jordan's head even comes into view at the very bottom corner of this window. Since his personal guards are panicking in the next room, Gen P is free to drop his sniper and head down the dock towards the exit. You might wonder how he just phased through this guard like Danny Phantom, and it's because he's making use of a glitch called NPC clipping. By getting yourself inside this guy at the end of the train mission and restarting the level in that brief moment, you cause 47 to clip through any NPC that would normally block him. With a pistol shot to take out this camera and 3 more to panic the nearby guards, Gen P gets himself out of Bangkok in a juicy 34 seconds. The next level is where I had to scoop my jaw off the floor when watching for the first time. This is the Telephone Boost, Colorado. The 4th level of the run, Freedom Fighters, brings Agent 47 to an apricot farm somewhere in Colorado. Here, he'll be nipping 4 different operatives of a growing terrorist cell in the bud. One of the longest standing strategies in the Master Trilogy run was the 116 Colorado, where we dispatched the targets with a series of Looney Tunes-esque accidents orchestrated from hundreds of meters away with nothing but a trusty sniper rifle. Simple, elegant, and consistent. But Gen P wasn't going for consistent. He was going to slap this game across the face with the back of his hand and make it call him sir. After starting off the mission at the default spawn and waiting out the entire cutscene for the targets to move into position, he'll unpack his ghost sniper rifle and fire 2 shots into the front of this house. The first will cause one of the targets named Sean to pause briefly, which will prevent a future opportunity to kill him from lining up perfectly with the chance to kill another target. The second causes this guard over here to walk over and begin investigating, distracting his attention away from Ezra, who will begin walking up the stairs any second now. Once he's picked up the breaching charge stashed inside this briefcase, he whips out his pistol to fire a panic shot on these guards, so he's free to attempt the flagship glitch of this level. As we discussed, breaching charges are small explosives that are the perfect tool for launching items. But the Breacher Boost combines the object launching qualities of the breaching charge with the particle boosting tech we talked about earlier, providing Agent 47 with a nearly instantaneous, albeit inconsistent, method of boosting himself onto inaccessible surfaces. Gen P tosses a violin precisely down beside this post, drops the breaching charge, and detonates his way up to the telephone pole. Instead of blowing up Ezra with a lawnmower, he fires a shot to send him tumbling down the stairs, popping off another one to distract this guard and ensure that the body won't be found. He then finds an absurd angle through this window into the house, firing a shot that leaves Penelope dead on the floor in a place where she would certainly be discovered, if Gen P wasn't planning on being out of here in 10 seconds. With 2 quick shots through the trees into this vehicle, he blasts his third target, Sean Rose, into the afterlife with an accidental explosion, before turning his attention to the real problem child of this mission. Maya Pavardi is busy conducting a training exercise way over here in this barn, surrounded by tons of NPCs who could easily bear witness to her murder. Thankfully, he has a plan, which involves firing a shot into this chair to distract a nearby guard who would spot her body, and then pausing the game. Wait, pausing the game? The Master Trilogy run is measured in in-game time, so there's no penalty for accessing the pause menu during a run. But what could Gen P possibly be doing here? Stopping to take a bite of a granola bar? Or perhaps beshbarmak, the national food of his home country? Actually, he's headed into the graphics menu. Since Agent 47 falls at a rate correlated to the number of frames per second, Gen P enables VSync and lowers his frame rate to 30 FPS, allowing him to fall more slowly and make it far enough horizontally to cross this gap as he steps off the telephone pole, landing perfectly atop the barbed wire fence. Ouch. From here, he fires a shot to kill Maya from another ridiculous angle, immediately dropping his rifle and weaving around these barriers to exit the mission in a cool 33 seconds. For the final mission of Season 1, Agent 47 says konnichiwa to Hokkaido, Japan. In this exclusive mountainside health resort, you get access to all the best amenities. A spa overlooking beautiful mountain views, a world-class sushi bar providing a dining experience like no other, and a cutting-edge facility where the surgeon works alongside groundbreaking AI to perform first-of-their-kind procedures. The targets, Eric Soders and Yuki Yamazaki, will be offered the surgical precision that this place promises, but not in the form that they expect. It seems like Agent 47 is a little underdressed for this setting, but Gen P doesn't have any interest in today's sashimi special. Instead, he runs straight out the door, pulling out an item that most players consider to be a joke, but that actually has an incredibly useful attribute for Hitman speedrunning. You see, Eric Soders has to be one of the easiest kills in the entire Hitman series. As he's currently undergoing a heart transplant, he has a minuscule amount of health, and his death is always assumed to be accidental, no matter the cause. For years, we took him out by simply running over, tossing a bomb at the wall of the operating room, and killing him with the force of the explosive damage. But speedrunners long pondered how they could accomplish this task without taking the extra 3.4 seconds required to get yourself within throwing range. Maybe we could launch a bomb, they thought. But the force of the breaching charge sent any of their intended payloads far beyond the intended target. This is where our friend Napoleon Bonaparte comes in. Turns out there are various launch distances for different objects in Hitman, so runners figured out that if you simply place Napoleon right on the corner of this rock and the breaching charge right over here around the center of this one, they'll launch him right over to the glass of the operating room. By taking out the detonator and blowing him up right after setting off the breaching charge, Napoleon will explode at the perfect position to take out Eric Soders without practically altering your movement pathing at all. The only other target is Yuki Yamazaki, who we used to deal with by blinding her guards, shooting her, and then exiting the level before they regained their vision. Unfortunately for Gen P, he used up all of his inventory slots, bringing along the equipment for that bomb launch. Working with what he's got instead, he pulls out his pistol and fires a non-lethal panic shot into one of her guards. Since Yuki is now in a lockdown and the nearest safe room is actually this gondola, her guards set up to protect the VIP so she can make her escape down the mountain. Genpei is actually planning on using that as his way out of here, so he makes chase down the hallway, waiting for her guards to turn their back and firing another shot into this fella to keep him turned around, letting him headshot Yuki right before she gets onto the gondola and steals his ride. With a little luck, her guards will remain unaware of her body as he takes the gondola exit to finish a Kaido in just 33 seconds. Completing every main game mission from Hitman 2016 in just 3 minutes and 34 seconds. This is a whole minute and 14 seconds faster than the speedrun I showed you back in 2022. A staggering 33% reduction that reflects a significant improvement across almost every single level. The levels in the Hitman trilogy are broken down into 3 seasons. The missions from Hitman 2016, the ones from 2018's Hitman 2, and finally those from Hitman 3. For the first mission of Season 2, Agent 47 heads to Hawke's Bay, New Zealand. With only one target, you would think that this level will be 10 seconds long. But just like your last situationship, it's a bit more complicated than it seems on the surface, but will still be over before you know it. In order to get this mission started, 47 first has to gain access to this hidden safe room. Instead of walking up to this painting, holding G, and waiting for this little meter to fill up, Genpei mashes the G button and the inventory button at the same time, performing what's called a fast interact to fill up the meter instantly. This tech is used all over the speedrun, notably every time that Genpei accesses a mission exit prompt. Something you might miss because he does it so quickly is him dropping this explosive on the floor right before he grabs the password dongle. Keep that in mind for later. Popping back out of the room, he does another fast interact on the PC, triggering the cutscene that shows the target, Alma Reynard, making an unexpected arrival alongside her boy toy Orson and a bunch of her guards. While it is absolute cinema, it's unlike other cutscenes in that the in-game timer runs while it's happening, and it doesn't influence the position of any NPCs regardless of when you end it. So Genpei skips it right away to kick off the real start of Season 2. Immediately breaking out of cover and making his way down the steps, he keeps himself just out of sight and uses a tranq pistol to knock out Orson and Alma's personal guard. While speedrunners previously ran up to Alma and stuck her in the back with a lethal poison, Genpei saves the time by just walking out the front door, making sure to stay out of this guard's view as he starts a lengthy trek across the dunes. He hasn't yet figured out a way to summon Shai-Hulud for a ride, but he is able to go faster by taking a more ideal line towards his escape than previous runners, turning around to fire a panic shot that will ensure Alma goes into lockdown and heads towards her safe room. My more astute viewers may have noticed that the green guns turned yellow as he was caught on camera leaving the property, but thankfully, he has a way of dealing with this later. With another panic shot to keep these guards up ahead from figuring out what's going on, he'll continue trekking along the beach, waiting for the awareness meter of this chap on the left to almost fill up and putting them all into a state of panic that clears the way to his escape boat. But of course, he can't just leave without eliminating the only target, so he pulls out the detonator for that explosive he dropped earlier. If everything went right, Alma will have panicked her way up into the safe room we accessed at the start of the mission, detonating the bomb just 3 seconds before he exits, so that the guards at the house won't have time to investigate the explosion and find her body. Genpei kills his target and destroys the security camera evidence, turning his guns back to green and completing the first level of Season 2 in a downright shifty 1 minute and 14 seconds. The second mission of Season 2 takes place at the Global Innovation Race in Miami, Florida. 47 has to eliminate an unhinged billionaire who wants to take over the world with his car and robot technology. But unlike Elon Musk, Robert stopped after just one kid. Sierra Knox sits behind the wheel of her father's race car, flying around the track that encircles the main area of the level. As far as Hitman missions go, Miami is one of the largest and most complex, boasting hundreds of NPCs, painstakingly crafted and atmospheric environments, and a plethora of potential kill methods that range from hilarious to downright epic. Sadly for the developers who spent collective years of their life designing this level, Genpei won't be exploring nearly any of those features, instead completing the whole mission from the default entrance with nothing but an emetic grenade and a sniper rifle. After waiting out most of the cutscene, Genpei is ready to go as soon as he sees the green light, which is more than I can say for most of the people I see on the road these days.
Get off your phone when you drive!
You better not be watching this in your car right now at a light that just turned green. Because Robert starts his movement cycle at the beginning of the cutscene, but Sierra starts hers as soon as you end it, you have to exit the cutscene at precisely the right moment if you want to be able to line up their movement cycles and kill both of them in quick succession. He'll start by tossing his emetic grenade at these ladies, the only real NPCs nearby. Fake NPCs are discernible from real ones by their lack of an outline and instinct vision, and their inability to compromise you for anything. Although, they can still ruin your run by dying to a wayward bullet or tranquilizer dart. They're mainly used in populated levels like Paris and Miami, and although they are helpful for hiding from enforcers in casual play, speedrunners tend to avoid them as they slow down your running animation when you go through them. Anyways, with those ladies headed to destroy the nearest bathroom, he's free to find an angle on this window, waiting until the mission timer just hits 6 seconds to fire 2 shots into the frame. This will put Robert's guard into a panic, but since Robbie had walked far enough away into the next room by the time the bullets landed, he'll have no clue this is happening and just continues strutting along. Gen P then takes another shot into this window frame, piquing Robert's interest and luring him across the room to an even more isolated position. Since Gen P ended the cutscene right when he saw the green light, Sierra is in the perfect spot on the track for him to walk over and blow up her race car with a ridiculous snipe. Sprinting back to this divider, he scopes in to find Robert in his crosshairs, firing through this tiny sliver of an opening to headshot his second target just as he comes into view, praying that nobody sees his barely hidden body before exiting this behemoth of a level in an exhilarating 16 seconds. For another of this game's most expansive levels, 47 arrives in the heart of the Colombian jungle to take on a beast with 3 heads. The striking and deadly Andrea Martinez, the gouty and opulent Rico Delgado, and the ornery, coked-up octogenarian Jorge Franco. All of these targets are highly protected within their own separate compounds, as they individually plot to continue their dominance of the local cartel operation. He begins his mission at the main entrance, watching a few short moments of the cutscene before hitting the spacebar to skip the rest. Right away, he'll pull out his silenced pistol and fire a shot into this doorway just feet from Andrea. If you time and aim it right, you'll put her into a lockdown that sends her running out the front door of this building, rather than back to safety further inside. He takes a distraction shot to keep the shopkeeper from spotting him as he gets himself set up to fast unpack his sniper and take out one of the security cameras monitoring Rico's compound. As Andrea absconds through her front door, Gen P fires a shot to drop this potted plant and eliminate her with a nifty accident kill. Using his sniper to unlock the door to this compound, he whips out his pistol to fire a panic shot on this guard, making sure to hug the right wall so that the guard can't see the obvious perpetrator of the crime he just fell victim to. With this entire group of enforcers in a blind panic, Gen P is free to run right past them, firing a couple shots on this wall as a distraction for these guards while he waits for Rico to round the corner, killing his second target with a precisely timed body shot that leaves him laying just out of sight of everyone nearby. Using his silenced pistol to disable the security camera, he'll continue along towards the cocaine fields. Gen P waits until he's past this hanging vine to fire a triple shot into these rocks. A triple shot functions almost exactly the same as a panic shot, so firing from this position means that the guards will run towards the origin of the shots after a brief moment of hysteria. However, the further away they're panicked from, the longer they take to head towards the shots. So by waiting until he runs past the vine, Gen P can ensure they don't stay around to compromise him when he fires his sniper. Now, Gen P is free to orchestrate the kill on Jorge with an ingenious setup. The first shots will entice the worker inside this shed to come out and see why the AC just shut off, and the third will lure Jorge over to the front door. Although 2 bullet impacts in a short period will panic an NPC, the worker inside doesn't actually hear the first 2. He only goes outside because the AC is off. Jorge doesn't panic because he doesn't hear the bullets that hit the AC unit either, only the third one as it hits the front door of the shed. Gen P fires a panic shot before he takes out Jorge with a bullet to the dome, hiding his body behind this conveniently open door. He then drops and detonates a Napoleon Bonaparte that will help him to maintain panic on nearby NPCs and keep him from getting compromised on his way to the exit. Everyone seems to be remaining appropriately hysterical as Gen P makes his way to the chopper, but he does narrowly escape being compromised by one of the guards before flying out of the Colombian jungle in a speedy 1 minute and 21 seconds. Our next hit takes us to Mumbai, the most populous city in India and the financial capital. The name was officially changed from Bombay to Mumbai in 1995 and was chosen to honor Mumbai Devi, the patron goddess of the Koli community who were the city's original inhabitants. What are you, waiting for a punchline here? Sorry for trying to make you more worldly. In Mumbai, 47 will be doing his best to blend in as he takes out 3 targets. Vanya Shah, the head of the local organized crime ring. Dawood Rangan, the least slimy and corrupt movie producer who had a career in the 2000s. And the Maelstrom, a mysterious and unidentified revolutionary who spawns in wearing a different disguise every run. Thankfully for Gen P, the mysterious Maelstrom starts off standing in this courtyard every time, letting him get the kill on this legendary former pirate with an accidental moped explosion. Fast unpacking his sniper, he fixes his scope on this window and fires 2 shots. These will panic an NPC that was about to walk over and talk to Vanya, meaning that she'll simply skip that section of her routine and move on to the next step of her cycle more quickly. You may have also noticed how he shot this nice gentleman in the hand. With these people panicked, he's free to pop off some shots into these windows, distracting and panicking these guards so they won't bother him as he moves into position to take out Vanya. Fast unpacking and standing beside this cart, he'll hit a quick no-scope on this wall to gunflash some nearby NPCs and prevent them from catching him. Gen P watches as Vanya stands up from her throne, walks forward, and stands directly under the chandelier that he drops with his sniper. As he repacks his sniper into his briefcase, you might notice that he's using the same technique involved in a fast unpack to go faster, crouching immediately after he initiates the animation. With 2 targets down and 1 to go, he starts heading towards the dock, using his silenced pistol to fire a distraction shot for this fella before taking another, riskier distraction shot into the wall behind these folks. This will turn this guard around and give him space to fast unpack the sniper and show you the real reason he had for bringing the Viper along. Dawood spends most of his time tucked away safely inside the eponymous Rangan Tower, but he does occasionally stroll out onto this treacherous piece of construction in order to do some enhanced interrogations. With his Viper, Gen P can shoot almost anywhere in his body to knock him off the edge. But unfortunately, you tend to get instantly compromised if the guards at the bottom see him falling into this freshly poured concrete. To prevent this, Gen P fires 2 shots that will draw the attention of those guards before fixing his sights back on Dawood, firing a single shot to knock him off the ledge and making a beeline along this dock to the exit. Gen P eliminates his second target and finishes the mission in a cheeky minute and 14 seconds. In the next mission, Another Life, Agent 47 heads to Whittleton Creek, Vermont, where he'll be taking out 2 targets and collecting 3 special clues. IOI does an incredible job of constructing an immersive atmosphere in the Hitman games, and Whittleton is the perfect example. You've got car-centric urban planning, trigger-happy police officers, and this fella cooking up some dogs on the grill. American exceptionalism at its finest. Gen P will watch the cutscene for a while before skipping out and fast unpacking his sniper, training his crosshairs on this very specific spot of this open window. With just 2 shots, he'll cause an oxygen tank to begin leaking and then explode, taking out Janus before I even had a chance to introduce him as the target. He's really grumpy, smokes a lot of cigarettes, and he did some war crimes back in the day. That's pretty much it. The next target, Nolan Cassidy, is currently assigned to Whittleton Creek to protect Janus. After firing a distraction shot to keep this guard out front off his case, Gen P hides a micro taser inside Nolan's mailbox. When he sets it off, he signs, seals, and delivers an electrocution accident trap that will spring into action once Nolan comes outside and picks up the package in his mailbox. Now all Gen P needs are the 3 clues, so he uses his sniper to break into this backyard and then pulls out his pistol, letting off a triple shot on this guard nicknamed the Hammer. He's not using it to panic him and get by unseen like we watched earlier in the run, but rather as a lure to draw the guard towards him and forgo the need to go inside and get him. While he waits for the Hammer to get over his panic and start moving, Gen P leg shots the owner of this backyard to trespass without being compromised, using his sniper to break into this shed, scooping up the first clue, and grabbing a shovel that he'll use to dig up the third. The second comes courtesy of the Hammer, who Gen P introduces to the shovel before promptly digging in this bush to unearth his final clue. As he runs towards the covered bridge exit, Cassidy opens up the shocking package in his mailbox, dying just in time for Gen P to make it out just 3 seconds later, which is how long it takes for exit prompts to become available after you complete all the objectives, polishing off Whittleton Creek in a dazzling 1 minute and 6 seconds. Our next mission, Shadows in the Water, is actually a new addition to the Master Trilogy, since this level was released as part of a free update just days before I uploaded my video on this run back in 2022. Ambrose Island features a slap fighting competition, a hidden cave with a satellite relay that must be destroyed in order to complete the mission, and a real earworm of a background song in the main social area. Agent 47 will be taking on the role of an island boy to take out the pirate girl boss, Akka, and a former militia leader by the name of Noel Crest. After waiting out a short cutscene, Genpei runs straight through Noel Crest, dropping a remote EMP device in the middle of this puddle. This is a very specialized tool, intended to work as a way to remotely disable electric devices like the security camera footage, but it actually sends off a spark very briefly when it's triggered. By dropping it in a puddle of water and waiting until Noel walks over to pick it up, he can dispatch his first target with electric ease. Taking special care not to destroy the sandcastle, he's a killer, not a monster. Genpei enjoys a long walk on the beach before unpacking his sniper rifle just as Crest succumbs to the electricity, firing a shot directly into Akka's head and then 2 more into the roofing to panic her guards on the stairs below. Incredibly, her corpse won't be discovered by either them or the other guards over here. This is a drastic improvement from the strategies you may have seen in my other videos, where we shot the tower to turn on the lights and call her to a meeting with Noel Crest, waiting about a minute for her to walk under this lighting fixture for an accident kill. Genpei now has both targets out of the way much faster, but he still has that satellite control unit to deal with. Previously, runners gained access to the cave, blew up the unit with an explosive ducky, and then made their way back out to perform the accident kill on Akka. But here, Genpei has something totally different in mind. He first fires several shots to take out this camera and panic the guards at the cave entrance. But instead of trying his luck with a duck, he'll pull out his pistol and hit one of the most useful triple shots I've ever seen. Genpei has effectively neutralized every guard in his proximity. Jogging over and grabbing the keys to the nearby boat exit, he turns and runs to make his escape, but not before firing some shots buffered by pauses into the satellite unit. In other games, I've seen this technique referred to as pause buffering, but in Hitman speedrunning, we refer to these as mud shots because they were discovered by a player named Muddy. With mud shots, you're able to fire your weapon at a much faster rate than the game intends, allowing you to bust open doors with only a silenced pistol, or in this case, destroy the satellite control unit in less than an in-game second. With the unit disabled and both targets voted off the island, Genpei commandeers this vessel and becomes a shadow in the water once again, beating the mission in an astonishing 59 seconds. The next level takes us to the Isle of Sigale, where the secretive Ark Society is throwing an exclusive gala complete with ritual hazing, a burning phoenix effigy, and various displayed instruments of medieval-style torture. The targets are twins, Basil. Twins. By the name of Zoe and Sophia Washington, who are here to officiate some of the Ark Society ceremonies and engage in some shady backroom negotiations. For as long as I can remember, runners have started off this level at the chapel, boosting onto this roof with tons of incredible angles to take out both targets. Just make sure to watch where you're walking. But once again, Genpei is going to turn the regular strategy completely on its head. Starting off atop the keep, he pops a shot into this gargoyle so it will fall and distract a guard that would catch him later, before moving on to something I'm calling the wiggle skip. To do it, Genpei fires his sniper into the ground so he can wiggle the hitbox of the gun's barrel into nearby geometry, boosting him up this chair and onto the fortress wall. From here, he fires a shot to stop Zoe in her tracks before hitting an insanely precise drop onto this ledge. Now he can stick her with a tranq dart, whip out his sniper, and execute Sister Number 1 with a tranq glitch, just like he did to Francesca all the way back in Sapienza. In case you forgot, killing her during the KO animation means he won't lose Silent Assassin when her body is found. With Zoe taken care of, he walks off the roof and reloads his tranquilizer, avoids getting caught by that guard he distracted earlier, and heads inside to pull off the exact same glitch to kill Sophia. With his only remaining task being not to kill a guy, he fires with his sniper to distract and panic these nearby NPCs before attempting an extremely difficult violin boost on this ledge. He unfortunately doesn't get the boost, but can still take out this camera and scale along this ledge to get down the pipe as an alternate route of descent. After busting this door open with his sniper, he fires 2 shots into this propane, drawing the attention of guard NPCs and panicking the others nearby so that nobody will compromise him as he descends down the ladder for a very appropriate time of just 47 seconds. With 2 Pacific Islands now down a couple baddies each, Genpei moves on to a personal favorite of mine, New York City. In order to complete this mission, you have to permanently terminate the account of Athena Savalas, while also collecting some important data. You could get it by scooping up a single server from the vault, but instead of taking the time to do that, Genpei will be picking up the 3 data cores carried by Athena and a few of her cronies that wander around the bank. Beginning at the main entrance, he waits out the entire cutscene and starts hoofing it over to the workers worker's checkpoint once it's finished. In order to make his way past this guard, he can walk straight through him and KO this gentleman walking up the stairs. For some reason, even though this guard just saw him trespassing, the man passing out on the stairs somehow holds no connection to Agent 47 and is so important that he shouldn't worry about the trespassing for the time being. This behavior makes tranq guns excellent tools for moving through checkpoints or around trespassing zones without getting compromised. Nabbing the first backup data disk that this gentleman dropped, Gen P turns toward a banker hall full of employees that could compromise him when he walks through their wheelhouse. It's no problem for him though, as he simply drops an explosive ducky and triggers it a few seconds later, putting the office into a panic as he sneaks through and steals a bust on the way. Once he gets to the top of these stairs, he pulls out his SMG, using it to triple shot these nearby guards and make his route a little shorter by getting rid of that pesky glass. He blasts the security camera and then pulls out his tranq pistol, putting another dart in the chamber, running up to this office, and knocking out this gentleman enjoying his coffee. And just like that, Mr. President, a second data disk has hit the inventory. He's also going to get caught on camera when he exits the room, for a second time actually, in case you didn't notice earlier. He slinks through Athena's front office and walks behind these plants, using his SMG to bust open a door to this back room and pick up a stash tranquilizer pistol. He uses it to incapacitate these two guards, taking out the camera with his SMG and relying on his trusty briefcase to knock out the third. This leaves Athena entirely isolated for him to headshot so he can collect the final data disk and complete all of his objectives. To deal with the evidence on the cameras, he'll take a short detour into her side office, shooting them up with his SMG and nabbing the key to the nearby VIP exit while he's there. In the past, runners would use that bust he grabbed to boost over the railing of these stairs and get to the exit, but instead Gen P is going to pull out another new addition to the Hitman trilogy. This is the cover aim glitch. By pressing space near certain walls and objects, you can suck Agent 47 against the surface and put him into sort of a hiding position. By going into cover in certain corners, aiming your pistol or camera at a 45-degree angle to turn 47 around, and then turning and exiting cover with precise timing, you can get Agent 47 onto ledges, through walls, or straight through the floor below you as Gen P does here. He also does it while narrowly avoiding being compromised by this guard right here, landing right in front of the exit and stealing a time of 1 minute and 23 seconds. The final level of Season 2 is where Gen P made one of the largest improvements from my last video on this run, shaving off more than a minute in a strategy that requires some serious Hitman abilities to execute. The targets are spread across a pretty gigantic map, with Ludmila Vetrova sauntering along the pier, Stephen Bradley doing some reps in this crowded gym, and Tyson Williams coughing it up in his highly protected compound on the other side of the island. Beginning this mission at the default entrance on the pier, Gen P skips the cutscene almost immediately, fast unpacking his sniper to fire a shot into the thatch roofing of this building. By firing precisely at this location and timing, you can put Ludmila into a very specific lockdown. Right after, he turns to find what may be the longest sniper angle in this run, letting off a shot that traverses across the entire island to smash through this window and hit the wall in front of one of Tyson's guards. With these two additional shots that hit on this wall, he finishes off the triple shot on Tyson's guard. Since he's so far away when he does this, the guard will wait so long before running that he just spends the rest of the mission staring into this corner. Reloading his sniper and dropping down off this ledge, Gen P turns to fire another shot through the leaves, this time to distract an NPC at Steven's gym. With Ludmila now sprinting into the bathroom alone, he lines up a headshot to secure the first kill of the level. Aiming back over to Steven, Gen P waits until he's just about to finish his last chin-up, firing a shot into this precise spot on his arm that causes his body to remain relatively in place. Even though his guard is right beside him, his corpse will somehow remain undetected until we escape the level. With only Tyson remaining, Gen P hits a nasty headshot to kill him right behind the backs of these panicking guards, dropping his sniper and turning to exit the mission in a scintillating 17 seconds. If you thought Gen P was going to let up and play it safe in the back third of the run, let me just show you what happens in Dubai, the first level of Season 3.
You got him, 47. Marcus Stuyvesant won't be a problem anymore. Let's move on to Carl Ingram.
The first shot he fires serves two purposes. By pulling the gun out of his inventory instantly and pause buffering his first shot, he fires it so quickly that the nearby NPCs don't even have time to compromise him. This same shot also distracts Marcus's personal guard, making it so that the next shot he fires will draw Marcus over right away, as the guard Marcus would ask is currently looking into that first shot. Following along so far, Genpei then blasts a shot into each of these pillars, distracting the guards who could walk by and interfere with his mission by seeing a body or compromising him. Checking to make sure everyone is in position, he fires a triple shot into this wall that's heard by everyone but Marcus. Fast unpacking his sniper, Genpei takes out Marcus and turns his attention to Carl Ingram, who's remained completely unaware of the chaos playing out below him. All Genpei has to do is wait for his guard to turn around, letting him take out Carl from underneath by firing through this metal that's actually penetrable. With that, Genpei heads to the elevator exit and polishes off the first mission of Season 3 in an absurd 17 seconds. The next mission takes us to Dartmoor, England, where 47 only has one target, family matriarch Alexa Carlisle. You also have to locate and steal a case file, but there are two keys that you can collect from these NPCs instead to circumvent that time-intensive heist. Starting off behind the mansion, Genpei unpacks his pistol and uses it to fire a panic shot on this guard, sending the bullet through these hedges so the impact will be heard by these civilians and panic them as well. With another shot onto a butler that could later compromise him, he's cleared out any potential witnesses, at least up until he gets to the door of the mansion. He'll use his pistol to fire a shot through this window, giving him an opportunity to trank this butler through the broken glass while these two are distracted. Making sure to scoop up the first half of the key that he needs to collect, he plows on through the hallway towards Alexa Carlisle. With a shot to stop this guy from walking any further forward, Genpei sets himself up for an easy accident kill on Alexa, using an explosive ducky to drop the chandelier on her head, instead of waiting around to do it with his pistol like runners did previously. Reloading another dart into his tranq pistol, he incapacitates this lady and picks up the second half of the key. After running out this door, he fires two quick distraction shots to move a guard away from the exit and keep these two from seeing him leave. Genpei nabs the limo keys and makes an escape in a phenomenal 59 seconds. The next mission, Apex Predator, takes place with Agent 47 on the back foot as he's being hunted by 10 agents across this bumpin' German nightclub situated in the ruins of a nuclear power plant. While this level boasts an incredible atmosphere and a fun dancing guy I like to call Greasy Steve, the real appeal of this level comes from the freedom you get in selecting your targets. You only have to kill 5 out of the 10 agents, so runners are free to pick and choose the kills that work best for them. After passing the vibe check at the entrance, Genpei immediately makes the bouncers regret their decision by pulling out Lil Flashy, a cute little robot that works as a flash grenade and allows him to trespass into this back room without anyone spotting him. Well, it normally does, but unfortunately due to perhaps the positioning of the flashbang, the timing of when he exited the cutscene, or the fact that Mercury was in retrograde, an NPC on the right noticed him trespassing and compromised him, irreparably destroying his silent assassin rating and forcing him to restart the level. Then to make matters even worse, it happens again, forcing another reset and totaling 8 seconds of extra time added to the counter. Thankfully, his third go around is a success, blinding everyone with Lil Flashy and sneaking into this back room where he stashed a sniper rifle. After a quick fast unpack, he shoots open this door and makes his way towards the roof, where the carnage really begins. With a distraction shot to sneak by this guard, Genpei wastes no time and simply quickscopes his first target after firing a shot to distract this guard further along the roof. To prevent this guard from eventually turning around and finding the body, Genpei fires another shot to put him on alert, using the nearby tank of propane to knock this guy out before equipping a concussive ducky. He'll line himself up against this building before tossing it down off the roof, landing it in the perfect area to knock out this Chinese food delivery guy and leave the moped keys on the ground for Genpei to grab later. But for now, he's still got 4 more guys to kill. He'll put a second agent in the dirt by using his sniper to drop a big bag of bricks on his head. He then immediately slides down this ladder, turning around to snipe open these doors and then get 3 sniper kills in rapid succession. The first on this agent up here, the second on this guard he revealed by opening the doors, and the last on this agent who wandered a little too far off the beaten path. With 5 agents down, it's time for Genpei to go. Scooping up the keys to the moped and sprinting out these doors towards the exit, Genpei beats Berlin in a beautiful 53 seconds. In the next mission, End of an Era, Agent 47 heads to Chongqing. It has a ton of interesting and unique areas, such as the lab containing Hush, a rich weirdo who's way too into putting chips in people's brains, or the secret facility prowled by Imogen Royce, a cyborg baddie girl bossing around the people monitoring a special data core. Instead of infiltrating either of these facilities, Genpei is going to start off on this balcony, firing a shot into this drone that initiates a meeting between Hush and Imogen. This causes them to set off onto a specific and repeatable path. He'll head to his left and hop over this wall, using his sniper to fire a triple shot into this concrete so he can panic the guards over here. This gives him the freedom he needs to cover aim, phase 47 into the wall, boost onto the next floor, and then take out Hush with a headshot. Sometimes a cover aim will let you get through walls or fall through floors, but if you cause 47's hitbox to collide with something like this wall, you can sometimes zip yourself up onto a surface above, just like you saw here. With Hush's body hidden in plain sight, at least for the time being, he'll turn his attention to Imogen, who's still making her way out of the underground facility towards the meeting point on the top floor. Rather than waiting around for her to come up to him, he walks right off the roof and runs past these people while holding his pistol. As for some reason, NPCs will compromise you less quickly while you have something illegal in your hand, rather than just a sniper on your back. Sprinting over to this window, he fires straight through what should be several walls and floors, while banging Imogen with a tranquilizer dart into sniper shot combo for a lovely tranquilizer glitch kill. Certain windows and surfaces in this game will allow you to shoot all the way through buildings, floors, or walls and pick up a kill. With Genpei now declaring himself the Chongqing, he turns to escape via the moped, exiting the mission in a filthy 41 seconds. Can you imagine being named Archibald and then ending up with a hairline like George Costanza? Well, that ironic nightmare is the reality for one of the two targets in the penultimate mission of the run, the Farewell, which takes place at an opulent winery in Mendoza, Argentina. Here, 47 is tasked with taking out Tamara Vidal and the aforementioned Archibald Yates, while being given specific instructions not to kill Diana. Tamara starts making her way towards the party from the upper gate, while Dawn begins ascending from the secret dungeon below his estate. Genpei waits out the cutscene and starts hoofing it towards Tamara, tossing his briefcase to get her attention and stop her from walking too far down the road. Immediately picking up his case and the sniper it contains inside, he continues jogging, dropping a coin in front of Tamara on his way by. As she stops to pick it up, she'll be in the perfect position to die via an accidental explosion, as Genpei uses 2 quick shots from his sniper to blow up the limo. Without delay, he sprints behind this group of cacti, taking out Archibald with a single shot from way downtown. Since Archie's guards are behind him in a stairwell, they'll take a while before they can get to a position where they will actually discover his body. In most missions, there's a 3-second delay between the completion of the final objective and the exits becoming usable, but in Mendoza, this delay is 12 seconds, which is why you can see Genpei waiting patiently and then spamming the fast interact to exit the mission as soon as possible, finishing off Mendoza in a diabolical 41 seconds, and bringing him to the final mission of the run. Train is a level that strikes fear into the heart of even the most seasoned speedrunners. Clocking in at over twice the length of most levels, players have to execute high-risk maneuvers at breakneck speed if they want to keep their run on track. Unlike every other level in this run, 47 isn't allowed to smuggle in any equipment or even choose his outfit. It's just him, a pair of slacks, and some suction cups. Running into the cabin ahead to pick up an SMG, he avoids climbing out the window and running atop the train by simply running back out the door and firing a triple shot through this glass, panicking the whole next cart full of guards so he can just jog straight through. For his next trick, he'll fire yet another set of panic shots into this glass, coming pretty close to getting caught by this enforcer before he thankfully panics, allowing Genpei to set up a cover aim in this corner and boost himself on to the outside of the train. You're able to access the train's exterior normally via prompted windows, but by cover glitching onto this ledge, he can sprint freely rather than being constrained to the scripted movement. After running across the second gap, he fires his SMG into the wall of this cart ahead, panicking the enforcers inside and avoiding a real nail-biter of a distraction and evasion that runners used to have to pull off. Scooping up some complimentary SMG ammo, he continues like the little speedrunner that could, popping open this door and ripping some panic shots into this poor dude's calves so he can scoop up this fuse cell and pass by uncompromised. He'll need to fire a set of precise panic shots on the guard ahead after climbing atop this cart. shooting these towards the far end to take care of these two, and these bursts to deal with the enforcers stationed around here. Now all Gen P has to do is hop down and put this fuse cell into the lights, temporarily blinding everybody just in case the panic goes wrong. He has to be careful to pick up the cell as soon as possible, as leaving it in for a few seconds causes it to burn out and be destroyed. This will send you packing all the way back to Paris if that happens, because you need that cell to blind all of the guards in this section and proceed into the final compartments. Hopping down from this tank and popping open the door, he fires a triple shot into the end of the hallway to panic this guard, negating the need to knock him out and hide his body in the closet like we used to. Now, it's time to pull off the scariest panic shot in Hitman. I would bet that Gen P is practiced enough on this level to finish it in his sleep, but sometimes this game just doesn't work the way you expect it to. If you don't panic every NPC in the last section of the train with these shots through the window, compromised. If the guard inside panics differently and starts making his way down the hall more quickly than usual, compromised. You hit this lady out of her chair in such a fashion that she stands up too quickly and looks at you, you guessed it, also compromised. But by the virtue of the blood, sweat, and tears, the thousands of hours that Gen P has poured into becoming one of the greatest Hitman players of all time, he manages to pull off the panic shots perfectly. He decouples the train cart and walks in to confront Arthur Edwards, achieving a feat unlike anything that the Master Trilogy category, or Hitman as a whole, had ever seen. With a total time of 17 minutes and 59 seconds across 21 levels, Gen P averaged just 51 seconds a level, killing 17 women and 28 men to make up this tasty looking pie chart. That's not cranberry sauce. That is not cranberry sauce. Years ago, when I first shared all the incredible discoveries that players had made, I could never imagine that the entire Master Trilogy could be completed in less than 20 minutes. What would have been even harder for me to fathom, I think, is that I would still be around and thriving as a content creator. I can't explain how much it means to me to make videos on things I'm passionate about full time, but thank you so much to everyone who's supported this channel and my stream on Twitch for making the last 4 years possible. Congrats again to Gen P on such an incredible record. I've been Aspecticor, and thank you very much for watching.